So we finally have the early spoilers for Boruto chapter 21, and it seems like it's going to be the best of 2025 so far. After almost 4 to 5 months of drowsy drops, the authors have finally cooked in this one with the reveal of Sarada's broken Mangekyo ability. The chapter has got Sarada herself on the cover with the not surprising title The Mangekyo Sharingan. Not just that, Boruto also returns in this chapter, which has set the scene for the most awaited battle of the series. And if I haven't misread any of the spoilers, then it seems like Kashin Koji was actually willing to sacrifice anyone for the sake of changing the future. We will get into all that, but let's first start with Sarada. Last time she awakened her Mangekyo Sharingan and used a black hole jutsu to counter the Iron Sand attack of Ryu. Konohamaru was struggling against Masuri's clone, and Jura showed some surprising emotions by crying. That brings us to chapter 21, which is focused heavily on Sarada and her new abilities. The chapter has got Sarada on the cover, and I feel like it would be showcasing her Mangekyo Sharingan as well, which is a good way to set the tone. The leaker calls the cover page cool, so it may be something really different than what we have seen before. The chapter seems to open with Sarada having a and while we already saw a glimpse of past in the sneak peek panel, it definitely wasn't from Sarada's POV, which means there will be more than a single flashback in this chapter. I feel like the one seen by Sarada would reflect on her determination to protect Boruto and Konoha, cause such a moment could give us more insight into her motivations and why she is pushing herself so hard into this fight. It would be a quite thoughtful scene which adds some depth to her character before the action picks up. Now let's get to the main thing. It's the full exploration of her Mangekyo Sharingan ability that we briefly saw in chapter 20, and I must say it could be the most broken Mangekyo ability of all time. If you are caught up with my videos, you must remember the theory that I proposed about the Mangekyo reflecting the heart of the user, playing a huge part in making Sarada's ability broken. In a nutshell, just because she is born in times when divine abilities have messed with humanity's path in weird ways, such as the birth of the Shinju and the rewrite of memories, her Mangekyo is supposed to grant her a power that would help her in dealing with these threats efficiently. So any Mangekyo ability from the past will not work against the present enemies, since the circumstances were way different back then, and the bar was set too low as well. This only meant that Sarada was supposed to unlock an entirely different and overpowered ability, and these spoilers have confirmed all my speculations. The black hole type power that we saw earlier can pull any attack aimed at her into a portal, almost like a defensive shield. She can even create multiple portals at once, using them to redirect or absorb Ryu's moves, which keeps him off balance. What's more amazing is that Sarada can target specific things with her portal. There even comes a point when Ryu himself starts getting pulled in, suggesting she can choose the targets of her black hole. It's possible that she's even targeting herself to float, which shows how versatile this ability is. She also has the power to enlarge her portals and use them to crush her target. However, there is a downside as well. Using the Mangekyo Sharingan takes a toll on Sarada. By the end of the chapter, she is so exhausted that she collapses and falls unconscious to the ground. This leaves us on a cliffhanger wondering if she pushed herself too far. It's a reminder that even a strong ability comes with drawbacks, much like what we have seen with the other Uchiha in the past. The focus then shifts back to Konohamaru and Masuri, with the situation turning bad for Konohamaru. Masuri has him pinned, stabbing him with two of her pointed collar weapons. It's like a tense moment and it seems like he's in serious trouble. But then out of nowhere, a kunai flies in and hits Masuri from behind. It was from Boruto. He teleported to the battlefield using one of the Flying Thunder God symbols, catching everyone off guard. We then see Boruto cutting Masuri into pieces, ending the fight altogether. Kashin Koji, who gets informed about this situation, seems to have been shaken and says something about Boruto not supposed to be there. It seems like Boruto's arrival wasn't a part of his plan, but since he still chose to do it, it could be that the worst possible future has already begun. This also proves that in the original master plan of Kashin Koji, Sarada and the others were supposed to join Konohamaru and finish off Masuri, but since Sarada fainted after overusing her Mangekyo Sharingan, the future completely changed, which means the low chances of Konohamaru's death, which he mentioned earlier, were on the verge of coming true. As you may have seen me saying, if Koji's plan do not align with Boruto, then he could rebel against him. Well, something similar happened in this chapter with Boruto appearing to save Konohamaru. Not to mention it's more of a bad news to the prodigy himself than anyone else, as him appearing on the battlefield has caught the eye of Jura. The chapter ends on a huge cliffhanger as we get a panel of Jura saying you have finally arrived on Suzuki Boruto. So with the battlefield heating up as Boruto takes the spotlight, we can expect Jura to appear before him next month. This development ties into the setup that was established several chapters earlier, where Kawaki's limiter, a mechanism restraining his full power, was promised to be removed. That would then unleash his full potential, setting the stage for a great confrontation. You must have seen this panel from the recent V-Jump cover, with Boruto holding his sword and Kawaki revealing his infamous staff. It seems like shortly after Jura, Kawaki will be the one to join the battlefield as well, which means a tag team fight between the Otsutsuki duo and the humanoid Tentails is about to happen really soon. This panel could have been a hint for the same, meaning the things are now rushing to the second most awaited battle of the series. The first one being the time skip fight from episode 1, which still has a long way to go, since Kawaki's outfit did not witness any change in this panel, which could mean a number of things. First off, it could be that Kawaki hasn't unlocked all his limiters yet. Otherwise, his outfit should have been switched to the one from the future, or maybe he actually got rid of the limiters and the new outfit is not an application of the same. Rather, it could be something like a reflection of a new mentality or mission, which could get enforced into him by a third party. The trousers look similar to Jigen. The scarf is definitely of the same fabric as Code, and the jacket reminds me of his father Kokatsu, who once was a great shinobi but turned into a drunkard. I have a crazy theory on Kawaki's backstory, and I will get to that in a moment. There is also a panel which says the Thorn Soul regenerates, which could mean that Ryu indeed gets defeated by Sarada, but the way the leaks are put out, it makes it hard to land on a conclusion, cause if the Soul Thorn was produced, it means Ryu has been exterminated completely, and in order for him to regenerate, the bulb should fly back to the Shinju hideout. But then we have this spoiler, which confused me a bit, so let's just assume that Ryu is in a pretty bad situation, and Sarada's Mangekyo ability was definitely effective against him. Now as for Sarada's condition, the fact that she was bleeding after overusing her power indicates that her eyesight is now at risk. There must be someone or something which grants her the power of the EMS, only then she would be able to help Boruto in the future. But I personally feel like there won't be any major Sarada moment for at least a few volumes now, considering what happened to Himawari after she took the spotlight with a brand new transformation for a few chapters. The focus has now entirely shifted to Boruto and Kawaki, as evident from the V-Jump cover. So this leads us to one of the most important questions. Has Amado deactivated the limiters of Kawaki off screen? While that's a mystery worth digging into, what if I told you an even greater deal lies within the new backstory of Kawaki that no one saw coming, and if Akebi actually gets revived with his help, then the reveal of this backstory might explain the true reason behind Konoha's future destruction. If you are interested in knowing more, make sure to check the video on the right. I will see you next time.